I was someone who always loved to draw and illustrate and cartoon, but it lost its joy because I became too perfectionistic about it. I would look at a drawing that I would make and I could see all the flaws, and it would really, really bother me. But when I picked up wood carving, there was something about the idea of being able to carve, and if I made a mistake, I'd just throw it into the fire or, just throw it into the woods and just let it go. And that was really freeing. It was exciting. It was fun to learn. I was certainly nervous about working with knives and making sure I didn't cut myself. So there's a lot of learning in how to hold a knife and how to be safe. But it was also incredibly freeing because starting wood carving, starting something simple like a chopstick or a spoon, at the end of it, even if it's not beautiful, it's usable and it's an object, and there's something really great about that. And what became really fun about it is that each successive chopstick or spoon could become just a little bit better until, you can see the progression. That's what's great about it as a skill, is that little by little, see how that object starts to take on a more refined shape. It starts to become cleaner, more usable. And so it became an opportunity to learn. I bought a knife, a basic knife. I would find wood. I would, just practice what I was learning there. And then there was a moment where I wanted to try figure carving, because I had a background in cartooning and illustration, and I've always had these characters and things in my mind. And so I decided I would make the jump from a spoon to drawing a character and then bringing that to life. It took me, I think, about a year to carve this character, because bit by bit, I do a little bit and then get frustrated or get blocked. But after a year, I made this thing, and this knight that I have sitting on the shelf, it looked exactly like the drawing. And that sort of put me off on another path towards puppets and figure carving and other things. When it comes to spoon carving, the really basic tools are a saw, an axe, and a knife. And those three things can get you pretty far. With just a lot of refinement and really trying to dig into revealing the shape of something. And that's an element of wood carving that I really love. Wood carving is reductive. You're taking pieces away to find the object. You can't add back to it so easily. Then you get smaller and smaller until you find the object within the wood. I'll sketch it, and sometimes those ideas are also about finding the size of something and the proportions of something. Then I can take it and translate it to wood. Sometimes, depending on the shape, I have enough of it in my head, and I've carved enough that I can see the shape in the wood, so I'll just start working. Knife safety comes from having, good sharp tools, because a dull tool is more likely to put more pressure on it and slip or something like that. So keeping your tools nice. There's gloves that you can buy. There's cut-resistant gloves that you put on your non-dominant hand that can help keep your hands safe as you're learning to carve, and that's a great thing to have. But that there's all different types of grips of how to use a knife to solve different problems with the wood. And as you learn those grips, and as you learn how to be present with your body and where your other hand is or where your leg might be, your level of safety just goes up. And there's something about being super focused on the knife and not cutting myself that allows me to also just let everything else drift away. So I'm in a moment where I'm completely thoughtless and hyper-focused, and it's really freeing. It's certainly a great stress reducer. Starting with spoons, what's really great about it's a simple object, but there is so much design. And as you start to learn functionality of how to make a wooden spoon, and then aesthetic of a wooden spoon, there are so many different ways you can go and refine and the neck, or ways to decorate the handle. And that becomes a fun challenge and a fun learning piece. You can do a lot with just a knife. Then as you gain skills and you progress, there are a variety of types of knives depending on the carving that you're doing. Some are really great for green woodworking, some are better for figure carving. It depends on the wood that you're working in. And what I have found now after carving for 15 years and having bought a lot of tools, I still come back to just the knife. For me, what started in the beginning for me and remains true is that wood carving is a wonderful place to be okay making mistakes. Take those mistakes as opportunities to further learn your skill and evolve on it. And over time, you'll find that you're making more interesting and beautiful things. Give yourself grace and just find the joy in it. the process for me, the joy for me, the ability to create, to relax, like that's what it's about. Some of them get painted afterwards. If it's a puppet, it'll get painted. It might get clothes or hair. So there's always that next stage of things. If it's green woodworking, then it's drying and then it's oiling so the quality of the wood can really pop. So there's always a finishing stage. And that's often my least favorite. I just like the carving part, and the finishing stage can sometimes drive me a little crazy. That's usually where more of the out loud cussing comes out when I'm making mistakes painting. And then it's done, and it's really great to see, like, here's this thing that started as a block of wood or as a stick, and then now here it has some life to it. I found early on, and it has remained consistently true, that in all these different types of wood carving spaces I've been in, they're incredibly welcoming to beginners, and it quickly becomes a space that's just joyful to be in. And so there's a place of finding people, but also finding people who will help you become better. Don't be afraid to just get a knife, go outside, and just, even if it's basic whittling, just get started. Look for community, look for classes. There's a lot of them out there, and they're incredibly welcoming. So it really is there for anybody. And I think it's a good hobby, a good skill for anyone to try.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to discover more hobbies and visit notjusthehobby.com to learn more.